This video is extracted from the book A Short Walk with Death by Ronald E. Quist. Shortly after midday, an ambulance driver showed up in my room to make sure that I was properly prepared for my transfer to the emergency rescue flight. He explained he would take Charlene in a separate ambulance because the ambulance I would travel in, along with the flight physician and the paramedic, did not have sufficient space. Charles inquired about the status of the landing permit. The ambulance driver was not sure if it had been issued yet. Charles requested the contact details of Rega's Ghanaian agent to inquire about the landing permit issuance. Rega had made it clear to Monica that if the landing permit had not been issued 20 minutes before their expected time of arrival, the plane was turning around and returning to Zurich. They had less than half an hour. These kinds of arrangements undoubtedly required time and should not be rushed. The agent would provide no information to Charles. She appeared to be stonewalling him. Charles wanted to come to their office. Maybe he could help. She told him their offices were closed. Sounding defensive, she explained that Friday had been a holiday. Saturday had been the day of voting. Of course, Sunday was their day off, and they had been working on the landing permit all Monday morning. I heard my sister Marjorie say, "She sounds irritated. Perhaps she is a member of the National Progressive Party and is upset about her party's recent defeat. Maybe it's because your name is Gebedema, an obviously you name. She thinks you must be a National Democratic Congress member." These days, particularly in the immediate aftermath of an election, our tribal two-party polity shapes our interpretation of many events. It was just before 1 p.m. I heard Charlene exclaim in dismay, "Oh no," several voices asked in unison. "What is it? What is it?" She explained that her mother had just called to tell her that the Rega flight had turned around. The plane was returning to Switzerland. Suddenly, the mood in the room sank as a blanket of melancholy settled over everyone. My pain became even more acute as all hope left me. I stole a quick glance in the direction of the doorway. For the first time all day, I saw a smile settle on the face of death. Maybe a smirk would be a more accurate description of his facial expression. Surely it had been naive of me to think I could win in a fight with death. Well, at least now my pain would be no more, I thought. A time to die. Naivete presented no such obstacle to Charles. He said, "Let's stop dealing with this unhelpful agent. Let me make some phone calls." He presumed that the Ghana Airports Company Limited would be the institution responsible for issuing landing permits. He called Aboshi Sai Kofi, chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited. "Aboshi, hi, can you please help me? Ronnie is now in a desperate situation. Switzerland has dispatched a rescue plane to retrieve Ronnie. Your people will not issue a landing permit." There was a short pause. "Oh, I see. You don't issue landing permits. I'll need to contact the Air Force." "Okay, thanks." Aboshi was a dear friend of ours. She was a warm, caring person and had previously expressed her concern about my health to Charles. Her late husband, Wellington, had also been a friend. She was a couple of years ahead of me in Nakumota Secondary School and was in her final year at the University of Ghana when Charles and I were freshmen. He dialed another number. "Uncle Wallace. Hello. We have a big problem. We have not been able to get a landing permit for Ronnie's rescue plane. The local agent messed us up. I understand it is the Air Force that controls flights to the airport. Do you have a person there I could call?" "Okay, thanks. I will call him and get back to you." Wallace was Charles's late dad's younger brother and former Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Wallace Gebedema. Charles then made another call. "Hello, boat. Good afternoon. I am so sorry to bother you, but I am on my knees. I need your help and do not know who else to turn to. We have an emergency. A rescue plane being sent from Switzerland to evacuate my very close friend, Ronnie Quist, has had to turn back to Switzerland because the local agent did not secure a landing permit. Boat, please. I beg you, if my friend is not flown out today, he will not make it. Is there anything you can do to help us get a landing permit?" he asked, his voice cracking. Boat was a nickname reserved for only the very closest friends of retired Air Vice Marshal Julius Otcher Boateng, former Chief of Staff of the Ghana Air Force. After a short pause, Charles turned to Charlene. "Please ask your mother to WhatsApp you the plane's registration number and call sign, the aircraft make and model, the number of people on board and their nationalities, and the airworthiness certificate number. It was only a few minutes before Monica responded. Charles forwarded the information provided to the former Air Vice Marshal. He followed up with a phone call. There was a short phone conversation. Charles turned to us and said, "He has asked me to wait. He will have to make a few calls. Let's hope for the best. Those of you who like to pray, well, this is the time." The atmosphere in the room was thick with anticipation, so thick you could have cut it with a knife. After about 15 minutes, Charles received a call. We heard him say over the phone, "The landing permit has been issued." "Did I hear you correctly?" "Yes, oh thank you. Boat, thank you very much. You have saved us. Thank you, Boat. Please let me repeat that. The landing code is GAF/BTBT/24/1045-0971/24-DTD-09/12/24. Can you please WhatsApp the landing code to me?" "Okay, thank you very much. I will get back to you to let you know how it goes." Then Charles turned to Charlene. "Charlene, call your mother right away. Tell her the landing permit has been granted. Please inform her that we will WhatsApp the landing code shortly." Charlene quickly dialed her mother. Mama, please call Rega to tell the plane to turn around. We received the landing permit. As soon as we conclude this call, I will send you the landing code via WhatsApp." Aha, okay. But please tell the folks at Regia that the commander of the Ghana Air Force issued the landing permit." She conveniently omitted the word former. When Charlene put down the phone, she did not seem confident. Someone asked Charlene, "What did she say? What did she say?" My mother said, "You know how Swiss people are. They are all about rules and regulations. The flight rules may not permit them to turn around. Additionally, there's the practical issue of fuel supply to consider. But she will call them and see what she can do." Monica called Charlene back in 10 minutes. The message was short. Charlene turned to everyone in the room and announced, "The plane is already in Mali but has decided to return to Accra. My dad will leave here today." A spontaneous roar went up along with some applause. It sounded as if their favorite Premier League team had just scored a goal. Charlene walked up to my bed and held my hand. "Dad, don't worry anymore. We are going to be all right." A time to die. With the mission accomplished and, in the tradition of Ghanaian culture, Charles felt a prayer would be appropriate. Charles was honestly too self-conscious to call for a prayer himself, but he had his ways. He suddenly shouted out, "Why, Dan, are you feeling too embarrassed to call for a prayer?" Dan, who is deeply religious, immediately gathered us all in a circle. Dan stood next to me and held one hand. Charlene held my other. Dan started a prayer. "Heavenly Father, I come before you today with a heart full of love and faith, lifting up my dear friend Ronnie into your healing hands. Lord, you are the God who heals, and I trust in your power to restore him to full health. I ask that every pain, weakness, or discomfort he may be feeling right now be removed. In Jesus' name, let his strength return, his body be refreshed, and his health be restored better than before. Thank you for the doctors, nurses, and caregivers tending to him. Give them wisdom and guidance in their decisions. May everything being done for his recovery work in alignment with your divine healing power. I give you all the glory, honor, and praise for the miracle of life and healing. In Jesus' mighty name I have prayed with thanksgiving. Amen." Charlene helped me put on my red athletic suit and socks and got me ready for the flight. I handed her my phone and wallet and suggested she keep my passport and yellow health card as well. I could hear several voices in the background talking about the rescue jet ambulance, a Challenger 650. My visitors were looking at details of the plane on a phone screen. For this flight, Regia had set it up as an intensive care unit. Someone commented, "Oh, it's a small plane." When I heard that, I turned to Charlene and said, "Please let the flight physician know that I am claustrophobic." Little did I appreciate at the time that I would be knocked out, heavily sedated for most of the flight. At 2:30 in the afternoon, Dr. Huber, the flight physician, and his female paramedic assistant wheeled a gurney into my room and set it right next to my bed. Dr. Huber identified me, asking, "Are you Ronald E. Quist?" I replied. "Yes," he continued. "My colleague and I are with Riga. We are here to evacuate you to a hospital in Switzerland," he stated. They wore uniforms, navy blue pants with white short-sleeved shirts and red lanyards around their necks. As they entered the room, I tried to get up, but they stopped me, asking me to just lie still. They both looked very young, but they exuded an air of authority and competence. Dr. Huber's large earring was a striking feature to the Ghanaian audience. In Ghana, men do not typically wear earrings, especially doctors. They rolled me to one side, placed a thick rubber sheet under me on my bed, and then rolled me back onto the sheet. After that, they pulled on the rubber sheet to smoothly slide me onto the gurney, which had been set at the same height as my hospital bed. They placed a better-fitting oxygen mask on me and connected it to a portable oxygen bottle located at the foot of the gurney. They hung the infusion bags onto a stand attached to the gurney. They asked for more infusion bags filled with the same antibiotics and saline solution for the flight. I noticed the room started filling up further with some of the hospital's medical staff who were there to watch the Swiss medical team at work. They were, honestly, receiving a masterclass in emergency care. I was wheeled out of the building to an ambulance, which was parked in the driveway at the front of the hospital building. When placed in the ambulance, I looked back at the building to see a large group of family, friends, and hospital staff gawking at us as we drove off. These kinds of intercontinental evacuations did not happen every day. A second ambulance had taken Charlene to the airport a few minutes earlier to process our passports and luggage through immigration and customs. Although my situation was not yet resolved, there was now a glimpse.